Hello, everyone. Here's welcome to day 79. We will be reading Deuteronomy 5 and 6, John 11, verses 38 through 57, and Psalm chapter 34. Deuteronomy chapter 5. The Ten Commandments reviewed. And Moses called all Israel and said to them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your hearing today, that you may learn them and be careful to observe them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. The Lord did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, those who are here today, all of us who are alive. The Lord talked with you face to face on the mountain from the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to declare to you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid because of the fire, and you did not go up the mountain. He said, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Oh my gosh. You shall not have any other gods before me, or you shall not worship idols, I think. Is that what you were reading? Please continue.
Anyways, you shall not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain.
Are you reading the commandments?
If you would have been here at the beginning, you would have heard me say the title, which is the Ten Commandments
I was
Review.
only not here for 2 minutes.
That's 2 minutes took me to read that on a couple first few scriptures. Observe the Sabbath day to keep it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter,
Sabbath
nor
day.
your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your ox, nor your donkey, nor any of your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates, that your male servant and your female servant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out from there by a mighty hand and by an outstretched arm. Therefore, the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day.
Let me guess. The next one is about honoring your parents.
Look at you! Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God has commanded you, that your days may be long, and that it may be well with you in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
Lie.
Yeah, don't lie about people, like gossiping.
Also, don't covet.
Right? You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not desire your neighbor's house, his field, his male servant, his female servant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. Oh, I'm busted with that one. I covet my neighbor's ox. It says, do not covet your neighbor's ox.
There's no oxes
here. My neighbor's donkey.
There's no oxes
here.
I
covet my neighbor's donkey.
There's oxes here. It's just that we don't live by cattle.
I think now it would be like currently it would be your don't covet your neighbor's instead of your neighbor's house, field, servant, female ox, donkey. It would say don't covet your neighbor's house, car, clothes, job, all of that stuff.
Or their YouTube channel.
If they're an influencer,
or
they're famous.
Their stuff, totally like the stuff they have, like, oh, look at this! I have a very expensive watch that costs like $1 billion.
These words the Lord spoke to all your assembly in the mountain from the midst of the fire, the cloud, and the thick darkness with a loud voice. And he added no more, and he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone and gave them to me. The people afraid of God's presence. So it was when you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was burning with fire, that you came near to me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and you said, surely the Lord our God has shown us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice from the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that God speaks with man, yet he still lives. Now, therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more, then we shall die. For who is there of all flesh who has heard the voice of the living God speaking from the midst of the fire, as we have, and lived? You go near and hear all that the Lord your God may say, and tell us all that the Lord our God says to you, and we will hear and do it. Then the Lord heard the voice of your words when you spoke to me, and the Lord said to me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken to you. They are right in all that they have spoken. Oh, that they had such a heart in them that they would fear me and always keep my commandments, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Go and say to them, return to your tents. But as for you, stand here by me, and I will speak to you all the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which you shall teach them, that they may observe them in the land which I am giving them to possess. Therefore, you shall be careful to do as the Lord your God has commanded you. You shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. You shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you shall possess. Chapter 6.
Yep.
The greatest commandment. Now this is the commandment, and these are the statutes and judgments which the Lord God has commanded to teach you, that you may observe them in the land which you are crossing over to possess. What?
I thought there was 10 commandments.
There are.
Then how come there's something about a best commandment?
I don't know. We have to read. We have to read. That you may fear the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Therefore, hear, O Israel, and be careful to observe it.
So basically, not adultery. Honor your parents. Basically, honor your parents. Okay, you can go now.
As I was saying, somebody keeps interrupting. Therefore, hear, O Israel, and be careful to observe it, that it may be well with you, and that you may multiply greatly, as the Lord God of your fathers has promised you, a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as fountlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Caution against disobedience. So it shall be when the Lord your God brings you into the land of which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you large and beautiful cities which you did not build, houses full of all good things which you did not fill, hewn out wells which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. When you have eaten and are full, then be aware lest you forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. You shall fear the Lord your God and serve him, and shall take oaths in his name. You shall not go after other gods, the gods of the peoples who are all around you. For the Lord your God is a jealous God among you, lest the anger of the Lord your God be aroused against you and destroy you from the face of the earth. You shall not tempt the Lord your God as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, his testimonies and his statutes, which he has commanded you. You shall do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the good land of which the Lord swore to your fathers, to cast out all your enemies from before you, as the Lord has spoken. When your son asks you in time to come, saying, what is the meaning of the testimonies, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord our God has commanded you? Then you shall say to your son, we were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And the Lord showed signs and wonders before our eyes, great and severe, against Egypt, Pharaoh, and all his household. Then he brought us out from there. that he might bring us in to give us the land of which he swore to our fathers. And the Lord commanded us to observe all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God, for our good always,
For our good always.
that he might preserve us alive as it is this day. Then it will be righteousness for us if we are careful to observe all these commandments before the Lord our God, and he has commanded us, as he has commanded us. Okay, John chapter 11, verses 38 to 57. John 11. (38 to 57). Oh, this is a good one. Lazarus raised from the dead. Cha-ching!
What the heck is that?
You don't know what Lazarus raised from the dead is?
I don't even know who Lazarus is.
I failed as a mother. God, I failed. You never heard Lazarus? The story of Lazarus.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my goodness.
Who even is that?
I'm a failure as a mother.
No, you're not.
I thought you got taught this in church. They didn't teach you this?
I don't remember. I have
Okay, Lazarus in the Bible was one of God's best, Jesus's best friends when he was on the earth. He loved Lazarus. That's why yesterday when we were talking, they told Jesus was far away from Lazarus. Lazarus was with his sisters, and they sent somebody to Jesus and they said, Jesus, Lazarus is sick. And he's like, oh, okay. And he stayed where he was 2 days. He didn't rush to help Lazarus. He stayed there 2 days. Finally, he came to see Lazarus, but by the time he went to see Lazarus, who was sick, Lazarus died.
Oh, no.
And he was dead 4 days by the time Jesus got to him. And when he found out that Lazarus died, it says Jesus wept. This is the shortest scripture in the Bible. John chapter 11, verse 35. Can you memorize this verse? Jesus wept. That's the short. It's 2 words. Jesus wept. He cried.
I know, but
because Lazarus died, and that was he loved him. So they loved each other.
So Lazarus was one of God's most favoritist
BFF. Okay, so he's dead. So Jesus cries. So look, this is what happens.
Uh-huh.
Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, so he was very sad.
I'm definitely gonna like this stream because you made me laugh.
Okay, so he came to the tomb where they put Lazarus, his dead body, right? It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. So it was a big cave. They put Lazarus' body in there, and there was a big stone covering the entrance. And so Jesus said, "Take away the stone." So they rolled the stone away. Martha, the sister of Lazarus, who was dead, said to him, "Lord, by this time there is a stench. Like he stinks. His body's degrading. It's stinky. If there's a dead body, it's going to start stinking. 4 days?" She's like, "What are you doing? It's going to be stinky. For he has been dead 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God?" So Jesus is telling her this. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I know that you always hear me. But because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me." Now, when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth!"
Dang, you don't have to be that.
It's an exclamation mark.
You don't have to actually be loud.
And
you know I have the sense of
and he who had died came out, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Loose him and let him go."
Of course, let him go. He didn't do nothing wrong.
No, let him go. Let him take the death cloths off of him. He was wrapped in. They used to wrap people that were dead in like a mummy. mummies.
I know what a mummy
So
is.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you. So he rose from the dead, 4 days dead, and God said, Lazarus, come forth. He got out of his grave and walked. They took the dead.
That's cool.
Is that amazing?
Uh-huh.
The plot to kill
I
Jesus.
want to be God be bro.
The plot to kill
I
Jesus
am his best friend.
for the third time. The plot to kill Jesus.
Oh no.
Then many of the Jews who had come to Mary and had seen the things Jesus did believed in him, but some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them the things Jesus did. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered a council and said, "What shall we do? For this man works many signs. If we let him alone like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and nation." And one of them, Caiaphas, being high priest that year, said to them, "You know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish." Now this he did not say on his own authority, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation, and not for that nation only, but also that he would gather together in one of the children of God who were scattered abroad. Then from that day on, they plotted to put him to death. Therefore, Jesus no longer walked openly among the Jews, but went from there into the country near the wilderness to a city called Ephraim, and then remained with his disciples. And the Passover of the Jews was near, and many went from the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then they sought Jesus and spoke among themselves as they stood in the temple, "What do you think, that he will not come to the feast?" Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given a command that if anyone knew where he was, he should report it, that they might seize him. So they want somebody to rat out where Jesus is hiding so they can kill him.
Oh dang! Like right where he is.
They want to track him down.
Dang.
Okay, Psalm chapter 34. The happiness of those who trust in God. A psalm of David when he pretended madness before Abimelech, who drove him away, and he departed. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make its boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear of it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. They looked to him and were radiant, and their faces were not ashamed. This poor man cried out, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps all around those who fear him and delivers them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who trusts in him. Oh, fear the Lord, you his saints. There is no want to those who fear him. The young lions lack and suffer hunger, but those who seek the Lord shall not lack any good thing. Come, you children, listen to me. I will teach you to fear the fear of the Lord, who is the man who desires life and loves many days, that he may see good. That he may see good? Question mark. Mm-hmm. Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry. The face of the Lord is against those who do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. The righteous cry out.
Hell, right?
I think so. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. The Lord is near to those who have a broken heart, and saves such as have a contrite spirit.
It sounds like hell. You know why? Because remember the dude that said, the dude that was 23 minutes in hell?
Oh, yeah.
Remember he said like, oh, even if you're famous or something, even if you're famous, you'll be forgotten in hell. You're forgetting in.
You're forgotten in hell. Yeah.
Yeah, you're all forgotten in hell.
That's sad.
Yeah, remember he said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
It's very sad. It's very sad.
I watched it multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. He guards all his bones, not one of them is broken. Evil shall slay the wicked, and those who hate the righteous shall be condemned. Those who hate the righteous will be condemned.
Righteous.
Shall be condemned. The Lord redeems the soul of his servants, and none of those who trust in him shall be condemned. Nice. That's it,
Nice.
guys.
Nice.
That's it for day 79. We'll see you tomorrow for day 80.
Sounds like you said date. Adios.
God bless. Good night.
Adios. Goodbye.